we were having a full-on conversation, yeah. Tracy's just chilling.
Hey, everybody. I was just sitting here on, you guys can see me on, you're probably like, wonder where she's at.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's totally ignoring me. Like, okay, I just want to talk with Sash.
Hey, so I don't think we have a whole lot today. I think we're kind of cruising. We had Memorial Day here in the States yesterday. But Sergio, I need to did you make the YouTube session, the Visionary sessions on YouTube public?
No, I didn't. I haven't worked like post-production on.
You did upload them to YouTube though, right?
By default should be recorded, but I don't know if it's not like public, the videos, the independent videos, because the stream make that there is available, but not public like in an individual. I haven't did anything additional by the stream.
Because I want to start social networking them, and I have a playlist out there for the Visionary May 2022.
Mm-hmm.
If we can add them to that playlist and make them public, then I can start pushing them out. Or do I need to upload them, re-upload them to that?
Let me check YouTube, and when it's ready, I will let you know. Okay.
Okay. I have everybody's, it's all ready to go. I just need the links for each one.
Okay.
Let's see. Steve is jumping off another call. He said he's going to join shortly. Was that him? No.
I see Arvin.
Oh, that was Arvin.
Hello, everyone.
Harry, how are you?
I'm fine.
So we did a presentation on last week on Ortelius at Swamp Up. I'd have to say it went really well. A lot of people came up and spoke to us about it. One woman said they can't track, they're struggling with tracking ownership or they have no idea where their microservices are. That was Walmart. And they said that they're really pushing the technology, but understand that there is challenges in, organization of services. Had a few other folks come up and say similar things. So it went really well. Next week, I have a presentation at CDCon. So CDCon is the 6th, 7th and 8th of next week, which is next week. I'm getting confused in the places I'm traveling to at the moment. So we'll see how that goes, since we did finally got a presentation to do after I complained so much.
Not the best idea.
What was that? I still can't.
Oh, sorry, my fault. I was logging to Twitch to watch, to move out the videos, and it just started like auto-playing something.
Oh, okay. I was like, what? We have our interview for the Ripple for the XRP grant. We have that interview on Friday at 3 o'clock US Mountain Time. So we've made it now to the final interview rounds. I don't know how much money they give out and how many they award, but I'm keeping I feel like we're doing pretty good in terms of staying in the game. So we'll see how it goes on Friday. It's at 3 o'clock. Any of you are welcome to join. I'll send the invite out to all of you, especially those of you who are on the board. So you can certainly join and listen in. But it is a weird time. It'd be Siddharth for you. It'd be like something like 2:30 in the morning on Friday. So I won't expect to see you there. And I understand.
Probably I'm going to have better chance to watch it.
Yeah. So if that works for you, go. I'll send out the invite to everybody. Please join if you're interested. You're more than welcome to. I tried to get an earlier time slot, but it wasn't going to happen. Let's see. Steve is on the architecture side. Steve is working to sort out where we're going to continue hosting our Right now, we have a free deal with Microsoft on Azure for our environment, our development environment. He's working with the CD Foundation to see if they can't pick up the bill for that, or if they have a different place that we might be able to host everything. So we might have to switch that. And then finally, there's one other thing that was important. I don't know. I've forgotten now. I lost it. It was there. Now it's gone. But that's pretty much what we're up to. Just keep kind of pushing along the same line.
Yeah, I think
Any thoughts?
I just jumped from the Visionaries to here, so I'm pretty blank right now. So at least I'm going to get updated the YouTube channel. And just in time,
Yeah.
because our videos was expiring in 3 days. So you just called me like just in time.
Yeah, and that we apologize for that certificate. I don't know why the Linux Foundation has your certificates expire every 6 months. So we're going to have to make sure that we have a note to ourselves that says ask for the certificate to be renewed before it expires. I guess it's their way to make sure that people are still hitting the website and flushing things out, because they've got, if you think about CNCF, there are so many different projects. It's kind of crazy how many projects they have.
Yeah, but I still can use just free certificates. I usually just use Let's Encrypt. Let's Encrypt just is 1 month or maybe 3 months. But the thing is, it's easy to automate. So after you have that automation, it doesn't matter if it just expires in a month, because it's going to renew automatically. So maybe we can check. At least I am being using it for Kubernetes cluster. So maybe we can put it in place here. But
And
only
then-
if there is a way to automate it with the CNCF. I don't know how that works.
I think that
I'm going to work with Steve. Yeah, I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, so the maybe things we get a little easier with the CD Foundation. They have tomorrow they'll make an announcement of their new general manager for the CD Foundation. I'm meeting with that person this week, and then I'm going to meet him in person next week. So I'm going to try to bring up some of these issues that we've been having, and I'm hoping that it brings new life into the CD Foundation, because I think it's been really dragging its feet since Tracy Miranda left, and they had Chris running it. I think he had just way too much going on. The other thing I was going to tell you is Garima Bajpai she's looking for speakers for DevOps Summit Canada. Let me see if I can find the link. No, that's not it. That's a Facebook page. I was like, find a bunch of stuff about Garima, but here, devopssummit.org. I just submitted for it, so it's got to be out there. There it is. All right, so here is the call for papers. If anybody's interested. And I always encourage everyone, if you to participate in any of these talks. So if you're interested in taking another swipe at doing a presentation, go for it. And Sasha, I thought your presentation was awesome, but you turn into a different person when you present.
I do.
You do. You're very, very, very like brief. you hold back and you're very professional.
Yeah, you look so like. I
You want me
don't
to be
know.
more unprofessional? I didn't.
Yes,
I,
please.
I don't want to don't want to say respectful because I don't want to say that we are not respectful with you usually. But you know what I mean.
We want the real Sasha to stand up when you're doing
Okay.
presentations.
Well, I don't want to like disrespect anyone, so just want to keep it tidy. And also, yeah, my wife is always telling me, "You're working in a corporate environment now. You can't be so crazy."
Mhm.
Yeah, you're more fun when you're not doing your corporate voice.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Tracy, for the feedback. Thanks, Serge.
Oh, people, I have to leave. I have to go with my. I need to pick up from the.
You never
school.
know,
Sorry.
right? I just don't want to like. Okay, cool, Serge. I don't want to like. I don't know. You never know. Somebody gets offended or something.
No, you would do fine. I think learning to be. Steve Taylor is the same way. I used to just poke him all the time about it because suddenly he would be super. His voice would be lower, and he would just change his presentation style. And then after he'd stop recording, he'd come back to being Steve again and be like, "Wait a second, we love you for who you are, just the way you are. You got to present in a more natural way."
Okay, thanks. That's good feedback.
It took him a while to do it. It took him a lot of presentations to get where he was just like, okay, I'm just doing this and I'm not thinking about anything except getting the information across. But
I'm exactly the same. I'm not very good at this presentation thing. You know how many takes it took me before? Yeah, I kept on missing words, and then I was like, and I start again. I must have done it like 50 times, and it's so short, but yeah, it's hard.
Well,
How do you make it look so easy?
the task for yourself then is to do more of them.
I know, I should.
You should. You're the perfect personality for doing presentations.
Okay, thanks, Tracy.
But really, just to be yourself, people will love you. Just being you.
Okay, great. You never know with like different parts of the world, like how you come across.
No, this stuff is, anytime you have, when it comes to learning, if you can bring a sense of humor into it and lightness, people actually learn better.
That's how I learn. I like to I prefer learning with people, not on my own.
Right.
I'd rather pair up with someone and like smash away at something together, right? And have fun doing it. For me, it's fun, right? Because all this, even my job, for me, it should be fun.
It should be fun. And it should be fun for for the people that's watching, it should be fun for them too.
Yeah, exactly. I go to work to have fun because I love the challenges, right? Yeah.
So that's all. That's the only takeout that I had for our Visionary Summit. I think that the 10-minute talks were a really much better way to go. And Siddharth, thank you for adding 2 people to our lineup. I thought both of the folks from NatWest did a great job.
Thank you. My motive was that to bring more and more people from NatWest group on these platforms. I should not be the only face every time or most of the times. So encouraging people also, the other residual benefit is that they also get exposed to our community. It is not just me who gets.
Yeah, and like Miklo said that he hadn't spoken at an event in quite some time since his kids were born, and he was really happy to get an opportunity to get his head back into doing it. So there are, to do these little, that's why trying to do 10 people for 10 minutes made more sense than just having 3 or 4 people for 30 minutes. Because it gives more people an opportunity to participate. So I think we'll do that again in December. It flowed well, and I think that there was a broader set of information.
Tracy, I may be wrong, but if I remember correctly, you have spoken about this backstage.io anytime in past.
Have you looked at Backstage?
We are thinking of, someone referred us. So I thought of, okay, at least checking what it is. So
Backstage
that's talking.
Backstage is the best way for me to describe Backstage is it is the parts of Ortelius that allows you to register a microservice and pull in the tooling that it uses. but it doesn't do any of the versioning or the application level tracking. It doesn't have the concept of an application, and it doesn't have the concept of versions. It might have, if you hook it up to, if you add what your deployment tool, it might track where a particular service is being deployed. But the best part about Backstage, and this is why I think we should connect to it, is that when you register your microservice with Backstage, what Spotify really built it for was to minimize the amount of work needed for setting up a Jenkins workflow. And so you could go and select a templated workflow to start it from.
And it would do everything from the workflow. It would do the Jenkins pipeline. If you needed if your organization runs every application or service in a different cluster or namespace, it would go and do all that provisioning stuff. So when the whole idea is, I'm going to start with like a Spring Boot microservice. And when I tell Backstage that this is Spring Boot and this is my pipeline and all the tools, I want Kafka, I want, Grafana, all these different tools in place. And you say go, behind the scenes, the templating engine goes and puts all those pieces in place. So you'll have, as a developer, a hello world that is actually running in a live somewhere, whether it's in development, QA, or production, that you have a service that you can start working with. And it'll actually, depending on the language and stuff, give you stub code to start working from. It's really a focused around standing up the DevOps infrastructure.
Yeah, so it's like a DevOps project initiator, but beyond that, it doesn't track the history.
Okay, I think I'll probably set up some time with you separately, know more about it, and
yeah,
why to go for, why not to go for both the cases for it.
Yeah, I think so. I think it's like, what problem are you trying to solve? So if you're trying to solve the problem of, generating those, that's why they call it Backstage, generating the workflow for every microservice automatically, that is a really good solution. So there's another competing tool that does that called Cookie Cutter, where we could interface with that too. As soon as somebody registers their microservice, you would select the Cookie Cutter template that you wanted, and it would go and do all of that. Or you can just use Cookie Cutter internally to go and do all that. But basically, Backstage and Cookie Cutter are generating your DevOps pipeline, like the basic structure of your DevOps pipeline for every single microservice. And that's what it does really well.
Okay.
And you're going to get, when you do that, you are going to get ownership because you register it. But again, it's not tracking things over time. Once you've set it up and registered it, you're sort of done.
Do you have any articles or resources, or what you're talking about, which is sort of not available online? If I can go through, if you may have some resources.
Well, that microservice catalog white paper I wrote talks about Backstage, and it talks about the area that Backstage is addressing, and then I have it in the comparison doc. But I think the best place to find the information on it is just to look on the backstage.io website. And I played with it. I tried playing with it for a bit. But I understood what it's really trying to do is generate the DevOps pipeline.
Okay.
And one of the complaints about it is that it uses, I think it might use poly repos instead of mono repos. And so there's some things that Spotify did that was very unique to Spotify that are baked into the tool that doesn't make it easy to get out of.
It was reverse. It's focused on mono repos, not poly repos.
Okay. And I do know, though, that it's gotten wide adoption, and it probably will graduate out of the CNCF this year. So it is a popular tool. And that's why I keep saying we should integrate to it, so people who are already using it then can start versioning the microservices that they've already registered to Backstage and tracking them.
Is it best for mono repos?
They use
Is that-
monorepos.
Okay, so Backstage is based on monorepos, not polyrepos. Okay, I just want to check.
I knew it was one or the other. So it's not as flexible as you might think because it was built around how Spotify does work.
And it is
But-
part of CNCF at the moment, and you're saying that they will move out of CNCF soon.
They're going to move out of CNCF
No, they're gonna
No, no.
graduate to, they're gonna go from incubating to
to
graduate
graduated.
in the CNCF.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Which doesn't mean a lot. It just means that they have achieved a certain level of adoption.
Okay. And, I'm not to hijack this call, but does Deploy Hub does the similar thing, what Backstage do, plus some additional, is that the right statement? Or Deploy
No.
Hub does something different?
So Deploy Hub, we've never added anything that generates a CD pipeline.
Okay.
I
And-
think from an open source perspective, I think that Ortelius, we should look at doing that. And either we would do it with Cookie Cutter or we would do it with Backstage. But since we're a Linux Foundation project, what we should do is hook up Backstage. So for example, with Backstage, we could look at what's installed in Backstage. We could pull you use a tag instead of a domain in Backstage to say what your service does. We could potentially take the tag and map that to create a domain out of that tag. And then we could pull all of the, if there are APIs available in Backstage, we could pull all of the registration information over, all of that automatically, and then automatically start tracking the versioning. Because while Backstage does a good job of generating that DevOps pipeline and gets people started with microservice architecture, it doesn't do a good job of tracking it over time. It doesn't solve it doesn't solve the ongoing problems. It solves the initial problems. Because the initial problem is if you have a new workflow for every single microservice, you have a lot of workflows to write. Now, CD events is saying you should never have to write a workflow. So something like Backstage would actually be replaced by something like CD events. Because in CD events, what you should just have to do is say, these are the 5 tools that I want my listener to watch for, and that's my workflow. As opposed to generating a Jenkins pipeline, workflow file.
Okay, got you. They're doing a demo tomorrow with our team. Any question that you think should be asked to them?
Of the team, or do we have a demo tomorrow?
No. Within NatWest with Backstage, we have a demo tomorrow.
Yeah, so I think that part of the problem is when you start looking at these new new DevOps tooling is that you really have to have a clear definition of the problem. And if you have a clear definition of the problem, it's a lot easier then to identify exactly the tooling that you should use. Because if you think about like the different catalogs there's Backstage that solves the front end problem. There's tools like Ops Level that solves the service level objectives problem with microservices. And then there's, Deploy Hub and Ortelius that's sitting in the middle of that, tracking the versions and tracking how the services are being used and the SBOMs and all of that good information. It may be the case that you need all three types of catalogs, but I think that eventually we'll get to one catalog to do all. From my perspective, I think that the tracking and the versioning is the most critical piece. And then being able to pull back data from production to try to track service level objectives is something that we should also be looking at doing. But those are easier problems to pull in, to enhance the product with than it is to build a versioning engine. The versioning engine is the hard stuff. So I think the question for the team is, are they looking at something to automate the workflow, the creation of the workflows? Are they looking at something to track usage and track what we like to call the sprawl and drift? Or are they looking at trying to solve software agreement levels? So if it's an SLA, SLO problem, Is it a DevOps problem where you're trying to onboard microservices, or is it an ongoing management problem of the service? So I would say we're more of a governance catalog than the other kinds of catalogs. So I think the question for the team is what is the biggest problem right now that you're trying to solve?
Right. Okay.
Because I don't think from your team I've heard a clear problem statement.
Yep. As I said, someone in our leadership of technology said that, why don't you try Backstage? So I said, okay, let me have conversation about that.
Yeah. And like I say, I think it's an awesome tool for what it does. It generates your workflow really, really quick. And then if you are a developer and you want to see if there's a microservice out there, you can search that catalog for tags, but it's not going to keep track of who's using it.
Okay. Thank you.
I learned a lot there. Oh, sorry, Steve.
Did you get anything from Microsoft, Sasha? I'll keep asking this every week.
It's okay. I'll check for you. Yeah.
While he's checking, I did open an issue with the Linux Foundation IT support about getting us a Kubernetes cluster, since the one from the Deploy Hub is expiring. What we're running into is an issue because the CD Foundation doesn't have a project manager, or what do they call it, executive director, to move it along. And I've been working with the VP of the LFX tools, knows about it. So they're trying to figure out what to do.
And guys, I have to drop because I have a 10 o'clock call. And I think when I drop, this is going to drop this call.
Sasha, just let me know on Discord.
I will do.
Okay. Thank you all.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.